What they've done is they've actually staged the aircraft as if they were on the USS Hornet.
Wow.
There were 16 of the aircraft that were on the USS Hornet when they launched the Doolittle raid. Fortunately, there's not enough room here, so they were only able to put 10. Alright, left-hand side of the aircraft, we got the training command. Here's just a variety of different training aircraft that we used during World War II. The other aircraft back here is a PT-26. PT standing for primary trainer. It would be one of the first airplanes that the cadets would get into. After they passed that, they would move up to what this aircraft would be, is a BT-13. And this PT-17 Stearman and this BT-13 both were used to train WASPs. For those of you that don't know what a WASP is, it is a woman air service pilot during World War II.
I didn't know that. WASP.
This nice, beautiful Stearman does have several signatures in the inside panel of it from all the WASPs, or from several WASPs. Alright, coming up here in a fighter town, if you look up to the right there in the distance, you'll see an aircraft with a name on it is Susie. That is a P-40 Warhawk. Engine inside there is an Allison D1710, approximately 1,500 horsepower. Commonly was used for the Flying Tigers, usually see Tiger Keep on. And the P in front of the P-40 stands for Pursuit. Before they started actually calling fighters F models, for example like the F-14 or the F-16, it was called a P, which was Pursuit. Alright, coming into the P-51 Mustangs, very common aircraft that comes into Oshkosh here. P-51 Mustang, the engine on the front there is a Rolls-Royce Merlin, I believe it's a V1540, I believe it is. I may be wrong. 1640, thank you. Liquid cooled engine, approximately 1,500 horsepower. Early model Mustang, the 8 mile. The reason why they moved over to the Rolls-Royce Merlin is because they had better high altitude operation. Service ceiling on this, I believe, is 28,000 feet. P-51 D model Mustang had 6 50 caliber machine guns. The B's and C's and even the A model had 4 50 caliber machine guns. Interesting fact about the belts of ammo. I'm sure somebody has heard the expression "the whole 9 yards." Where that came from was, and I believe it was on the Spitfires is where it originally came from. The belts of ammo were 9 yards. So when they got back from a mission, they were asked how it went. They said we gave them the whole 9 yards. You can see the scoop on the bottom of the P-51 Mustang. As I mentioned before, it is a liquid-cooled engine. So the only disadvantage to the P-51 Mustang was it was a little bit vulnerable on the belly because that was where the engine coolant, the radiator is. And if the P-51 Mustang is having any coolant issues, they have a minute and a half for them or to get on the ground to deal with it, or the engine could overheat and seize up. On the left-hand side, we got 3 F-4U Corsairs. These were carrier-based aircraft for the United States Navy.
That's a good picture of the thing right here.
Japanese nicknamed this aircraft Whistling Death. And the reason why, and when we get on the front side, I want you to look back at the base of the wing. You'll see a hole in the base of the wing, but it's where the oil cooler is for the engine.
No, I talked about that one, I think.
And when they would go into a dive and strafe, they would actually make a loud whistle. That's why it was nicknamed the Whistling Death by the Japanese. 2,000 horsepower engine on the front of this. Gull wing aircraft. I believe it had 8 50 caliber. I know that it had 6 50 caliber machine guns. And all the way on the end of this next row of P-51 Mustangs, you can see down there, just in the distance, there is a Spitfire. On the right-hand side here, we got the reenactors tent, a reenactors area. All these gentlemen are camping out in these tents this whole entire week. They try to make it as realistic as what it was in the 1940s. You can see all the different vehicles that they use. all the different equipment that they had in camp, firearms, armament, and so on and so forth. So interesting story about the Spitfire down there again. You can go on the internet and actually find a couple of pictures of this, but there's actually a brewery over in Europe called Spitfire Brewery. But there are pictures of Spitfire. They actually have attach points on the Mustangs and the Spitfires had them too, where they actually would strap barrels of beer. And they would take off with the barrels of beer. Obviously it's much cooler up at altitude. They'd fill the beer. And by the time they landed with all the servicemen, the beer was ready to drink. No joke, there is you can find the picture on the internet. Alright, we're going to move on to the liaison aircraft and the observation type aircraft. There's a lot to see over here, so I'm going to go ahead and start talking to them. You can kind of see the airplanes as we come up on it. On the left-hand side, when we turn to the liaison aircraft, it's going to be O2. O stands for observer. It's used in Vietnam. They were used to, and they would occasionally put armament on and rockets on the wings, but primarily used to search out Viet Cong, and then they bring in the fighters to drop napalm or bombs. I had an opportunity to speak to a gentleman that flew these in Vietnam. He said they would just sit and do S-turns the whole time to search out Viet Cong. The Viet Cong would hide,